Year 2024, month of June. In this episode, we're going to go over clonable and comparable in Java. In Java, clonable and comparable are two important interfaces that serve distinct purposes in object-oriented programming. These two interfaces are a bit of a break from the classes from the Java Standard Library that I typically go over in this video series. These are interfaces, not classes. Interfaces in Java take the form of English adjectives. This is of interesting note. Methods are encouraged to be named after English verbs, or they should begin with a verb, such as upload files or trace route or make uppercase. Classes typically represent a noun, something you can think about, like a Boolean, a byte, a number format, a string, a scanner. But interfaces are named after adjectives. And like adjectives in English and other languages, they modify the meaning of nouns. For example, the clonable interface is used to indicate that a class allows its objects to be cloned, meaning a duplicate copy of the object can be created. This is part of the java.lang package and does not contain any methods. It acts as a marker interface, and its primary purpose is to signal to the object.clone method that it is legal for that method to make a field-for-field copy of instances of that class. So, clonable is a marker interface, which means it does not define any methods. It serves as a signal to the JVM. And I also think it serves as a signal to the human reader of the code. The actual cloning is done by calling the clone method from the object class, the superclass in Java. All classes inherit from it. For a class to support cloning, it must override the clone method. The default implementation of the clone method in the object class creates what's called a shallow copy of the object. This means that it copies the values of the fields, but if the field is a reference to an object, it copies the reference and not the actual object. It is not a deep copy. If a class does not implement clonable and its clone method is called, a clone not supported exception is thrown. So a class declaration would go something like public class, example, implements clonable. And you have the setters and getters and private instance fields. And then the @override attribute is on top of some methods such as clone and toString. It's important to put code you're not sure about into try-catch blocks and catch the clone not supported exception. The clone not supported exception can then have its stack trace printed with the print stack trace method. The comparable interface is used to impose a natural ordering on the objects of each class that implements it. This interface is also part of the java.lang package and contains one method, compared to, which takes in one object, which is used to compare the current object with another object of the same type. Remember, the comparable interface has a single method. The comparable interface has the compare_to method, which returns an integer. A negative integer is returned if the object class is less than the specified object. 0 if the current object is equal to the specified object, and a positive integer if the current object is greater than the specified object. Implementing this interface allows a class to define its natural ordering, which can be somewhat arbitrary, as you can see, which can then be used with sorting algorithms and data structures like treeset, treemap, and arrays.sort. The compare_to method should be consistent with equals, such that x.compare_to_y should return the same thing as x.equals_y. That is convention, but make sure you look to make sure that code that has been written by someone else didn't screw that up. So you might have a class of some kind. It implements comparable, and that needs to have in chevron brackets another class, usually the same one. And you override the compare_to method. And inside you can have whatever method logic you want for that. So, if we recall, to review, Cloneable is used for creating object copies. It implements the clone method from the object class. Comparable is for comparing objects to impose a natural ordering, which is really whatever you decide, but you should probably try to make it make sense. Implemented by providing the compare_to method, which can then be overwritten. These interfaces are fundamental in Java and for managing object duplication and sorting respectively. As usual with these videos, remember the purpose of these videos, when we say better know a Java class, there is Java code out there. There's a lot of emphasis with teach yourself, all this new stuff, but that stuff is so niche. Rust absolutely has a future. Go is very well established, but there's not a lot of Rust code out there in production projects. And there is Go, but again, it's still niche compared to the boring but safe jobs in the Java and C# ecosystems. On this channel, we try to focus on the most practical stuff so that you can just get a job, pay your bills, and not have the grind culture wear you down. It's okay for this stuff to just be a job. You have a life to live. And there's more to it than ones and zeros. That is why when we go over certain classes in Java and C#, you can impose your own simplification rules by saying, we're only going to use these classes. We're actually not going to use some exotic stuff. Or if we add one, we're going to forget about another one. For new projects, at least. And for old projects, it's important to know what you're not dealing with as much as you should know what you are dealing with. I think the design of Java and C# was actually quite wise for the niche that they filled in. So let's deal with the code that is out there, and let's know what it means when we see clonable and comparable in Java. Please like and subscribe. Check out the description for repositories, blogs, and websites. Thank you.